Okay, so this is the pop-up stainless steel synth set that you're going to get with the Tara Bush Pilfisher Lane box set. Let me introduce you to these elements first. You've got the microphone here, you've got the mini mug here, obviously you have Tara here with her wine glass, you have a speaker cabinet here, and you have an MS-20 here. Obviously they're loosely based on these things. It's pretty impossible to get all the detail into something so tiny, as you'll see when you get hold of it. It's good to do these in a kind of order. The first one, and probably the most difficult thing to set up, is the mini mug. So we're going to do that. I would suggest some things that might really help here are a set of needle nose pliers would be really useful, and even perhaps a little set of tweezers, or even a chunky set of tweezers. These are pretty good, depending on how nimble your fingers are. First thing to do is to lift up from the bottom here. Bring it a little closer to the camera, I hope you can see this. Lift up from the bottom here, and what we're doing is we're bending the joints at the base here, so we can bend those up quite slowly, remembering what you want to do is you can bend those up to about 90 degrees. What you want to do is not bend them back and forth very much. If you bend them back and forth, there is a lot of potential that you'll snap it, and obviously you don't want to do that. So this is going to be bent around to make, I don't know if you can see that there, this is going to be bent around to make the kind of illusion of a 3D synth. Now what's going to be on top is this top panel. You'll be able to see, if you look a little closer there, that it's divided up into three kind of pieces. This little slot down the middle is going to give you your 3D effect. So the first thing to do is actually to bend the top one backwards, and it's good to do it in this order. I'm going to use the pliers here because it just makes things a lot easier. Also, you need to, pretty much everything here gets bent 90 degrees, so remember that, and you won't be over bending stuff. So we're just going to take that, and you can do it side by side here quite easily. And whoops. So we're just going to take that and bend it about 90 degrees. Actually, I'm going to change pliers there, there's a bit sticky. Bend it about 90 degrees. And then the next thing we're going to do is, after you've done that, so you can, that's around about 90 degrees. Next thing you're going to do is this smaller part here, that little kind of tiny panel there, which is going to give us our 3D effect. As you'll see in a minute, we're going to bend that as well. So that's going to bring the whole thing down, and again a little, sort of from one end and then from the other end, little bit by bit. It's going to be the easiest way of doing it, and the most accurate way of doing it. You can kind of squeeze it down a bit like that, and it should be cool. Again, this doesn't have to be kind of like 100% totally crazy angular accurate. I like a little bit of, I've liked a little bit of dynamics in any of this, as you'll see. And then I'm going to get it and I'm going to bend it all forward. And again, you can do this with your hand. You can do this with your pliers. It doesn't really matter a lot. Now you can see that that's giving you a nice kind of 3D synth look. I kind of like the legs a little bit, not 90 degrees on this one, a little bit less dynamic, a little bit more dynamic should I say, a little bit like the the Vox Jaguar legs, sort of like the Z legs almost. I kind of like that. Again, you know, you're kind of making this part up as you go along and deciding what you want, but the only thing to remember is choose something and stick with it. Don't just go back and forth, because if you start moving these around, something's going to snap, and we don't want that, do we? Next thing to do here is to pop up, and again, it's probably good that this isn't kind of like quad up like that, because it gets in the way of the microphone. So next thing to do is to pop up the microphone. And a good thing to do with the microphone is grab it totally low on the base here and put it up nice and slowly. And this one probably does need to be 90 degrees. Okay, so you can see that that's, oops, where are we going there? That's now sticking up at 90 degrees. That base there is pretty solid, but again, don't work it back and forth. With the top of the microphone, it's kind of, you try and get that in there as close as you can. It's kind of slightly complex. It's going to cradle the actual microphone that comes with the circuit, the recordable circuit board. So what we have to do is, let me get this right. So you bend it. If you look at, there's a series of joints here that you'll be able to see when you look closely. You just need to bend them alternately. So the bottom one will bend down 90 degrees. The next one will bend, so the bottom one will bend down like that. The next one will bend up like that. And again, it's kind of useful if you use some tools there as well. So your next bend is going to be a little like that, and then the final bend is right at the top. It's very useful to use a pair of pliers there and to bend that down like that. Again, we're not looking for like super crazy accuracy here. You can just kind of bend it into a perfect shape if you want, and you should have something along the lines of that little cradle there. Okay, so that's the really kind of hard part done. You can tear it up now. Again, try and grasp everything low at the base, and I'm just kind of putting my fingers behind her here. Careful not to touch her ass. Tara's now got her head in her hand sitting next to me. You can bend up the, so there you go, let me show you, just popping up like that. You can bend a little bit more, 90 degrees, and you can bend up her arms here, elbow, like so. Let's see if the best way of seeing that is you can bend her arms and her elbow like so, and then twist the wine glass to her left, and that'll have her holding it up. Something along those lines there, and you can do something with her left arm as well. You can see the joints, just bend them slightly. Again, try not to do anything over 90 degrees, and you won't fuck it up.